Hi, it's Lisa. Who doesn't know me? I'm an occupational therapist specialized in autism and Padawan therapy. And today, this video, I decided to create it for those parents, who are struggling still with picky eaters, or for those therapists who would like to have a little bit more of a guidance and strategies of what to do and how to help a picky eater with feeding. Now, if you know or not, occupational therapy, we work in different areas. We work on cognitive, in motor, visual, auditory, and in general, we try to work on all the sensory skills and sensory systems. Feeding, it's one of them. Actually, based on my personal practice, I have a lot of children who struggles with feeding and oral motor skills. And in my last video, I was talking to you about picky eaters. So today I would like to focus a little bit more in this area. Picky eaters are those children or adults who has difficulties with texture, taste, smell of food, or in general, visually, they cannot accept what is in front of them or have sensory difficulties to tolerate the mix of textures and smells in the same plate. So my role as an occupational therapist, it will be to guide the therapist, guide the parents, or guide the teacher who is working with this child or adult in order to work on this particular activity, right? Feeding, which is essential for us. This video was created with the purpose to work on strategies, okay? So what I'm going to give you or provide you are going to be some of the examples or strategies that I personally use in my therapeutic practice. And through these years, I really found a really big benefit from it, okay? So I would like first to start with this sentence saying, don't wait for food to work on food. And I really like it. When I was thinking about this video, how I'm going to do the presentation, I thought about this sentence because it's something that is really true. I never wait for the food in order to work with the food. So if we are having a child who is a picky eater having difficulties in feeding, or oral motor skills or sensory skills, right? That sometimes it's even interconnected. I never start with the food because we have to make sure that, not like we have to make sure, but we know that the child is not accepting food. So if me as a therapist, I'm coming with a plate, ready, super nice, with a nice presentation and with a beautiful smell in front of the child with the food, the answer is going to be negative. 99%. So usually what I like to do, and this is what I would like to share with you today, is I like to work in different sessions with different sensory tools that will guide me, will show me the path, the best way how to reach the child in order to start working on the feeding. Let me explain myself. Usually what I do is I make sure, first of all, that the child knows how to drink from a straw or knows how to drink in general from a cup, for example, or from a beaker. He knows or she knows how to chew, how to manipulate certain food, or if not, the parents usually will tell me, the child is putting all the toys inside of the mouth, or he picks up small things and he will put it everything. So all these things, I always make a big note at the beginning, in our intervention, when we start planning with the parents what we are going to do, because these are going to be the small inputs that will guide me as a therapist, what I have to do and from which way I can target the feeding. So I use a lot of spiky balls, I use a lot of Chewy Tubes, I use different textures of toys and kinetic sand and vibration, massages, sensory brushes, in general, any sensory tool that if you never heard about it, if you are new about occupational therapy, this is the best, the most strongest part of OT. Occupational therapy is working on sensory difficulties. So we use a lot of this type of toys. If you know about OT and you are familiar with the topic, you can be agree with me that we use a lot of this. And this type of sensory activities and sensory tools help me a lot in order to be able to work on the feeding. So yes, one of my strategies, it will be suggest you to, if you don't have sensory tools, if you don't have sensory toys, if you don't have a vibrator or a facial vibrator, to work on the massages and the face and the chin and the neck, I would highly suggest you to get a couple of things in order to make a box, the sensory box. With this box, perhaps you can start working with the child or your child and working on these sensory inputs, right? So the vibration, I always suggest you to work, if we are going to talk about different sensory toys, I would like just to talk about specific one. The vibration, it's very important. I think it's actually the key of my therapy, because a vibration provides you such a big amount of sensory input in one shot, in one go, that this will not replace any other toy. In fact, I think if you never used anything vibrating with your child or the adult, you could give it a try and write me in the comment what you think about it, because I see a big change whenever we work on toothbrush, for example, brushing our teeth. I use a battery operated toothbrush with the vibration, because while you are working on the brushing our teeth, we are also making massage for the child, and we are making a really great awareness input inside of the mouth for the child. So I use different vibrators for the face, just to relax the cheeks, the chin, around the mouth, the lips, the upper lip, the lower lip. And this, through the sessions, it make a major impact towards speech difficulties. So in case if you are targeting speech difficulties, or if you are targeting feeding. In this case, today the topic is about feeding, but I might give you time to time an example for something else. The other toy, the sensory toy that I use a lot, it will be a Chewy Tube. I think I mentioned in different videos of mine that a chewing skill, it's one of the most important, actually. We might live without whistling or without drinking from a straw, but chewing, actually, it's the major function of our teeth. It's the main activity of feeding. If we don't chew and we don't properly chew and swallow, we don't have feeding. So obviously we have other muscles involved and other areas, but the chewing is the most complex one. In case if you don't have Chewy Tubes and your child is struggling with chewing, I highly recommend you to get one. You can find it in many shops, and even if you put in internet Chewy Tubes, you will find different styles, different colors. If your child like to play Lego, you have in shape of Lego. You have different nowadays. You have different shapes, and it can be attractive for your child to try. And once the child starts feeling more comfortable with the chewing, I am pretty sure you will see a big difference in feeding as well. So these are like the two biggest tools that I use, but obviously, like I say, spiky balls, sensory brushes, my own hands, kinetic sense, oil, a shaving cream, or anything, tomato sauce sometimes we will be using. It depends how creative is your activity, depends what you're doing with the child. But this is what I was saying at the beginning. Don't wait for the food to start working with the food, because you can be introducing different textures, different smells, and different liquids and different styles of activity working directly with the food. For example, using ketchup or using tomato sauce or using oil vegetable oil, no, or any oil that you are using at home, right? This could be one of the activities, or using paint, or like I said before, kinetic sand. It's a fantastic tool that we have also nowadays available easy, and it's super, super powerful for our touch. So yes, I in case if this is something that you already put on practice and you're already working on it, well done, very good. It's a very good start. It's a very good beginning. Like I said before, picky eaters are difficult because we think that we need to be a master chef or have an incredible skills cooking in order for the child to eat, or the adult. And it's not true. It's picky eating. It doesn't have nothing to do with your cooking skills, how the food is cooked, or how the food is presented. Most of the time, it's there are two options. Could be behavior or could be sensory. And in my practice, 95% of picky eaters are because there is something in a sensory area, in sensory areas, because we have many, something is affected. So with the help of an occupational therapist, or occupational therapist, speech therapist, psychomotricity, or physiotherapy sometimes, not always, might help you. So yes, in case if you are hesitating, or maybe you don't know, you would like to read more about it, nowadays you have also a lot of information available. But most of the time in my practice, I find children who are picky eater related to sensory difficulties. For those who are starting introducing new food, and you already start working on these sensory aspects that I was mentioning you before, and you now want to start introducing the food, I would suggest you to start with something that it's new. Now, I know that how does it sound, because most of the time we are going to suggest a therapist is to start with something that the child is familiar with. The problem is when it's something that is familiar, most of the time, it depends also on the child, but most of the time when it's something familiar, they already know what you're going to do. They guess your intention. They know that there is a situation at home or at school with the food. And if you are sitting in the table with the food that he likes, that he knows or she knows, most probably he knows what you are going to do, or most probably he's guessing that you are going to work on food. So the sitting tolerance and the attention and even the motivation or interest is not going to be there. So most of the time, I like to make it a fun activity with painting, kinetic sand, oil, we get messy, whatever. I make sure that I have all these skills getting ready, or I am already working on them. And then suddenly I will say, you know what, I bought this pack of chips. Because usually, me as an occupational therapist, I suggest to work with soft food or crunchy food. If your child has chewing skills, I would go directly for crunchy things, crunchy food. If your child is not really into chewing and he is now started developing because of the Chewy Tube, or basically naturally, I will go for soft. So he can start using these chewing skills. So depends on the situation. But if my example is a child who is already having good chewing skills, and we are going to be working on crunchy food, I will present it like that. You know, I bought this pack of crisps, and I really would like to try it, and I will offer to the mother or to the assistant or who is with me, and then I will be offering to the child. But I'm not going to be offering like, take it. No, that's most of the time how we expect that the child will say, yes, I want. No, that's not going to happen. I will just open the pack. I will put a few in the middle of the table in a plate. I'm going to take one chip or whatever it is, and who is in the room with me will do the same. And I will offer to the child, obviously, because I will be offering to the mother, for example, to the father, and I will be offering as well to the child. Most probably the first time is going to be no. If the child is verbal and is communicating, is able to communicate, he will say no. Or you might have a surprise and the child will ask you what it is. Or he will smell it or she will smell it to see how does it smell. And this is a really good step. Even if the child says no, because what you would like to do is you want to just make this new food, new item in front of him, make him be curious, like interesting, what is happening, what it is in front of me. And we don't do a big fuss about it. The child doesn't want, you eat, you say, oh, it's so good. It's a little bit salty, but it is crunchy. And I describe it. Actually, I describe what I'm eating. And I even ask the mother, did you like it? How do you feel? Because the most important, what we have to always try to remember is that feeding, it's a main activity for our survival, but it's also the most complex and difficult one. The same with speech. So the fact that the child says no to something is not meaning that the child cannot listen how it is or what it is. Okay? So I like to create this natural environment where actually the child is not judged or it's not like pushed to eat. No, it's okay, it's fine. We're eating. My intention, I know my intentions. But my intentions I'm not sharing with the child. Say, listen, I put this plate because I would like you to eat. At all. I try to make it as smooth as possible and really in a cool way that the child will try the food. In case if this doesn't happen the first session, I'm not going to repeat and go straight away with a new packet of crisps and I will say, you know what, today I bought another packet of crisps, because that's going to be like, okay, so what happened? She's always hungry or she's just buying new things or she's not eating it at home. So I like time to time, today chips, maybe tomorrow something else. Or maybe tomorrow I can be drinking water or drinking an orange juice because I know that the child doesn't accept orange juice. So I will be always not making the child struggle with, but push a little bit this limit of the struggle of the child and the reality that we have to work on the feeding, on the drinking, on the sensory issues, and we have to make them happen by obviously providing a most natural environment and smooth one. And yes, and in most of the times, it's really successful. So obviously it depends on the child, depends on the situation, depends on the possibilities, right? Depends on the timing, everything, the age, the communication skills, everything, it counts. Last time, for example, I remember last week, I had a child who is actually picky eater, and we were doing kinetic sand, we were doing other tactile activities, physical activities as well, vestibular, no. And at the end, I said, something similar, no? Like I bought this pack and I really like today the session. And when I really like the session, I would like to give you a gift. It's something really sweet. I love it. I always buy it and I share it with my favorite students. Depends on the child. You will see how confident you are to say this or not. Okay. So I'm not telling you to do exactly the same what I was saying. And I gave one to the mother, one to the father, because there were two, no? And obviously, and I offered one to myself and I gave it to him. And you could see when he picked up, which is very good sign, by the way, the fact that he actually took it and hold it in their hands. When he picked up, his face was like, no, I'm not going to eat it. And then the mother ate it, the father ate it, and we're like, how it is? I said, look, I'm not going to ask you to eat it. But I would like to try, as we are working on chewing skills, I would like you to try to give 3 bites. 3 bites and we throw it in the dustbin. Let me show you. Now it's your turn. And the child did it. The child literally took it and did with a face expression of no way, I'm not going to do it. The child did it 1, 2, and 3, and then we throw it in the bin. Great, thank you very much. Thank you for coming. I will see you next week. That's it. We are not doing a big fuss. Wow, what? You put it in your mouth? Because sometimes we are making, even as therapists, it happened to me a long time ago when I started in this wonderful profession. We were exaggerating every single step the child was doing. And what we don't have to do is to reinforce the difficulties or to reinforce our intentions. Like I said, you know your goals as a parent, as a teacher, as a therapist. Not always it's necessary to share 100% of your goals, because sometimes you are going to put more pressure to the child rather work on the situation. But in this case, he knows that he struggled with chewing skills. And I just told him, like, we are working on chewing. So I would like you to give 3 bites. So I was really satisfied. The parents were super satisfied. It was like our second session. But obviously it's not for every child. It's not for every parent, or the amount of session that you will need, or if the progress is going to be the same. So I will guess that my final suggestion, it will be take it easy, right? Apply these strategies, or just give me a thought, or write in the comment what do you think. And yes, try to take it easy. Feeding, it's not easy. Picky eaters are not easy. Sensory difficulties are very, very complicated. First of all, to understand, and then to target them. But with an occupational therapist by your side, or language pathologist, you can work on the feeding skills, and you can work with picky eaters, and I'm pretty sure that you can obtain really great results. Well, that's all for today. Thank you for watching. I hope this suggestion helped you or will help you in the future. If you're new, make sure to subscribe and like the video if you like it. And I will see you in my next videos. Thank you.